the Kenyan Constitution, and the rule of law will prevail. That's what I think.
And Honorable Mutunga, just before we take a look at the feedback, because the past few weeks we've witnessed all these shifts in the justice sector, whether it's cases being withdrawn. I'm not sure you've had any new prosecutions since William Ruto became president. Yeah. But how then does the president define his tenure in regards to the war on graft and even the justice sector itself?
Yeah. The word corruption is not very interesting. It's not really one of those that are ones of good report. It's not something that we should be talking about all the time. If you listen to Tanzanians and the Rwandese and the Ugandans talking, they just believe corruption is anchored in Kenya because that's what we talk about. The fact that President failed to use the word corruption in Parliament was an issue. Everybody who stood said the President failed because he did not address the issues of corruption. But when you come out and tell the people that I want to run a transparent and accountable government, and I want you to come out and focus on how we are doing business, are we doing the right thing, and I will empower institutions, I will empower the judiciary, I will empower the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, and all those other, and the police, will give independence to police. What is he trying to say? That I want to give these people tools and empower them to ensure that they do their work the way it's supposed to be done. And in this case, I'm containing and controlling corruption. I don't have to say that I'm dealing with corruption so that people can understand. Corruption is a dubious word. There is a lot of stealing, which is regarded as corruption. There is misappropriation. There are all those sorts of things. So it's not really a very good one to use.
But in a situation, Honorable Mutunga, that you have told Kenyans that all cases that you see against my colleagues or my friends in politics who are politically instigated, then a month into your tenure, we see several cases dropping by the wayside.
Clearly.
I mean, what are Kenyans supposed to think? Because you've already said that politics actually interferes with how the justice sector is used to deal with corruption. You
will, in essence, be justifying your statement. Because it is not only cases in court, that is not only the court, the judicial service system that was used to intimidate Kenyans. Some of us lost our positions in committees in the House for no apparent reason at all. Some of us were followed all over. We had to lay off our drivers and bodyguards. We have to use other means to protect ourselves. So it is a system that was against anybody who was not for or not basically, towing the line. And if probably you had a small case or anything that could have been attributed to failure or malfunction of some kind, you would have been, they would have used the judicial system. They used the judicial system, they used the EACC, they used the DCI, they used all sorts of things. So some of us who probably may not have had such issues were denied opportunities, and projects in our areas were also not done. And clearly you hear, let me use the one system instead of picking out on names here. System saying, do not allocate money to this particular project. This guy doesn't support us. The Constitution doesn't specify that you should support our president.
Which office is that? I thought it's Parliament that allocates resources.
Parliament allocates resources, but my friend, the other hand is not really the Parliament. I will tell you something. If, can I tell you that most of the laws we did last time were actually done from State House? Can I say that for record, without any fear of contradiction? Because when you do a bill, and you make a legislative proposal, and it goes to State House for signature, and then you get it back through a memo, and the memo has specific conditions that revert what the Parliament has said, and you need 2/3 majority to overturn that particular provision. Who is doing the law? So, my friend, that's what was happening.
It is within the confines of how laws are supposed to be made, isn't it?
Yes, for sure, yes. But if you want something off, and may I use that, allow me to use that, to pass, you would use that particular route. And that route was used many times. I think, you remember there are two or three laws we passed between maybe I think March and May. Those laws are faulty. Even now we will have to look into them because they are really they're not providing, they were not done for posterity. They were done to assist a few individuals achieve certain ends and certain means.
And therefore, Senator, how do we avoid a repeat of that? And I'm asking this question because the explanation was that politics has been used to fight opponents. is it also not possible that politics can be used to free friends?
Yes, your statement is correct. But before I come to that, I really want to say the moment the process of making law is such that finally the president will assent to it or refer back to the House for changes. And in the event to make a wrong law, like one time we challenged the security laws, remember those controversial laws have a lot of fights in the House. Then you can go to court and nullify that particular law. So there's nothing which can be done absolutely by anyone, including the president. There are checks and balances. And I also really want to say that, on the war of graft, there should be, a certain goodwill expected from the state to fight graft. And the office of the DPP should not be used to score, politically, either prosecute somebody or remove charges for somebody who probably would have stolen from government coffers. And again, I don't believe President Uhuru Kenyatta misused his powers while he was there, and I don't think he gave instructions for anybody to be eliminated. What this squad did, if you see their mandate, and what eventually they did, that's a personal responsibility to that particular officers. But for that to happen, then an investigation has to go on, or an inquiry, and evidence has to be given as to what happened. But the law allows, if you're already a danger to others, then that's the work of the security. They can, to prevent loss of further lives, they can eliminate one person like a terrorist. But that incident should be documented and handled properly, so that even the family of that particular person sees the justification. Okay. And every Kenyan should see the justification. Really, extrajudicial killing is unconstitutional, is illegal, and should not happen in the country. And on that particular score, I agree with what the president did. If there was a unit which was doing extrajudicial killing, there should be other ways of dealing with terrorism or robbery or people seen to be against the state. But at the same breath, then one will ask what happened to people like Mosando. Was it not political? How come it was never followed? How come there's no investigation? How come nobody has come to speak in an inquiry? Because all those things are provided in the law. Finally, on the judiciary should not be bribed in courts. The judiciary should have a free management, should be independent, and their independence can only be if their monies, if the operation monies of the judiciary go straight, from the exchequer to the judiciary. Once Parliament allocates whatever they have requested, because they make a request, they provide their request on the things they are going to do, the courts. Sometimes, the courts do not even have a pen or a paper. The judge has to buy the pen for the state. So I believe the judiciary should be facilitated so that, it can even print a judgment. The moment, you don't facilitate the judiciary, then you are holding it at ransom. And I think, really, their money should go straight from the exchequer. And it should not look like I, the president, I'm the one who have given you 3 billion shillings in accordance with your budget. That is the work of Parliament and the exchequer. Really, it should not be politicized.
Those are interesting observations that you make there. Let's take a look at the feedback you've been sharing with us via Twitter at Citizen TV Kenya at Sam Gituku. The hashtag to use is a daybreak on the two major conversations we've had. And let me begin with Oringe Waswa. The cabinet nominees who were vetted yesterday represented the Hustlers Millionaires cadre. We hope that the president, in his fair consideration, nominated to cabinet someone to represent those lowly and humble, genuine hustlers. Well, the list is out. We will know. Engineer Lazaro, vetting process has revealed the true colors of our leaders. Multi-billionaires distinguish themselves as hustlers. Very unfortunate to watch hunger drive several children out of learning institutions in a nation of multi-billionaires. Godi Barazawere, it's the hope of every Kenyan person that all those who will be declared fit to serve in President Ruto's cabinet will exhibit the, quote, service above self commitment. Those who will not comply should be purged without warning. Okay. Babu Michael, I feel the cabinet vetting process is just a formality to blackmail the general public, and no nominees will be left out even if they got tangible or serious integrity issues. The questions are asked, and whatever they answer, that is it. All right, that's an observation of Babu. Kaspar Mido, you're saying the maize seller knew very well that the version of his cabinet would look like. Anyway, what I pray for is for them to deliver what they promised Mama Mboga. We will be keeping an oversight from this other side. All right. Isaac Muthusi, Special Service Unit Disbandment is set to birth a new unit, just like its predecessor, Flying Squad. That's what Isaac Muthusi is saying this morning. And today, of course, is the turn for some 5 nominees that will be vetted. The first one will be Professor Kithure Kindiki, who has been nominated to the Interior docket. Then there will be Professor Njuguna Ndungu to the National Treasury, Aisha Jumwa, Public Service, Gender and Affirmative Action, Davis Chirchir to the Energy and Petroleum docket, and then Moses Kuria to the Trade and Industry docket. I want to take closing remarks from the 3 of you, starting with you, Honorable Kuria Kimani, on what then we should be expecting as soon as all these processes are completed, and of course with all the shifts we are seeing, especially in the justice sector.
Thank you very much. It was such an interesting conversation we had this morning. One thing I really like about all the nominees of the combination of these nominees for cabinet secretaries is their distinct skill set. Like this morning, we have the Honorable Professor Kithure Kindiki, a decorated lawyer, politician, lecturer, brings a whole wealth of experience, both from the ground level, because having served as the senator, this is someone who understands the issues of ordinary Kenyans, and again, studying law all the way, I think, in South Africa, and then rising all the way now to be a cabinet secretary. The Honorable Moses Kuria brings, again, a decorated career in previously in the banking sector. Again, having served as a member of parliament for Gatundu South, is someone who really understands these particular issues. We're very excited as a people of Nakuru because for once we have a full-fledged minister in the name of Zachary Njeru, who will be the cabinet secretary for land, urban planning and public works. And then this is a very big win for us, the people of Nakuru, because we've never had a substantive minister since independence. We have the Honorable Aisha Jumwa. I thought Ochengoneko was from your county. I think I'll just laugh at that. We have the Honorable Aisha Jumwa, and then who has been served as a woman rep for the great people of Taita, for great people of Kilifi, understands the issues of gender. So I really believe and really vouch that this team will truly deliver the Kenya Kwanza manifesto that we sold to Kenyans, that these leaders are going to be sensitive to the needs and the issues of average Mwananchi, and the subsequent recruitments in the various state departments, that we will have the face of many young people, of women, of people with disabilities, and people that Kenyans will feel represent them in this government. So, yes, I love the personalities. Again, I really like the skill set that they bring from industry experience to politics, because one of the largest challenges we had in the previous government is we had people that were aloof, that they had no understanding of issues, but we have people that have lived ordinary lives, stayed with ordinary Kenyans, and how they're not going to forget that which we are going to give them authority to do. And hopefully, we're going to have a Kenya that we're going to be all proud of, that's going to provide equal opportunities to all Kenyans. Mm-hmm. It's going to lower the cost of living, and it's going to make us united in being proudly Kenyan.
Okay, all right. Senator Manzo, your focus moving forward.
Yes, I think this is a matter which needs to be reviewed in future, but it tells the sort of government you form. So if you have all cabinet ministers with questionable, characters, have you participated in one activity or another in their past service which raised issues, I believe people should be honorable enough, to disqualify themselves. And if you do not fit to be in public service by virtue of what you've done, by charges in court, if you are supposed to step aside, if somebody is supposed to have stepped aside, if they are already in power, how then do you bring them for vetting and they are supposed to have steps aside? So it's a question of how that particular government is going to look. And we believe the main idea is to serve Kenyans. People with questionable characters should not be given an opportunity to serve Kenyans, although you are allowed to clear yourself through a process. I think everyone should be cleared first from whatever allegations they are facing, and then they be allowed to serve, and that's what vetting is all about. Unfortunately, it is very difficult to remove somebody during the vetting process. And at times, even if you single them out at this committee, the floor of the House may also rescue them. Again, the floor of the House can be able to remove some of these people who have been cleared by the initial vetting committee. So I'm really challenging Parliament to raise to the occasion and stand firm, and whoever they think has serious questionable character should not be allowed to proceed. And I'm sure the President will be happy to send somebody else to replace that particular person. And this challenges us so that in future we have people of serious credibility to lead our nation. Mm-hmm. I believe corruption is going to be fought thoroughly. But you cannot vet corrupt people into government and expect to charge them later when they go on into a steely spree from government coffers. I believe we should all look forward to serve Kenyans, even if we are in the opposition, and the President has requested that to be, he wants a very thorough opposition. We want to promise him that we are going to be thorough opposition to make sure that we scrutinize his government for the benefit of Kenyans. And I think also the opposition then, its ideas should be respected, and we should not see that mechanism which was used by previous regimes to muzzle, people who speak out the truth. We really want the government, once criticized, to pick the criticism positively and improve the lives of Kenyans. Otherwise, we are in the same ship. Our work is not to drill the ship to sink. We want the captain to succeed and sail Kenyans to prosperity.
Okay, very interesting. Honorable Mutunga, your final words.
Thank you very much. When I look at the entire cabinet, the entire group of 21 and even those other three, I actually see a mixture of technocrats, politicians, seasoned politicians. I see people who are experts in their areas. I also see people who have served diligently in this country, and they are therefore. I think the President has put together a team that will be a consultative team, that will be discussing issues and thrashing them out in view of the principle of bottom-up. Because experience with the people is key. When it comes to serving a nation, we don't just need education. We need experience and interaction with the people. So when you pick a politician into a cabinet position, I think you pick the right person, in my very considered opinion, because these are the people who are dealing with the people who have real problems down there, and they're the people who have had to interpret these problems in their own way, come up with solutions, and try to look for support to deal with this, to deal out those problems. So if we have a team that, the team that we have right now is a team that is being prepared for an economic revolution. And in economic revolution, you have to look at all dimensions. You have to see, to be sure of checks and balances. And the President is very bold to say that we would like to have very serious, scrutiny, especially from the opposition. He said you would not like to have a situation where you will have to beg or bring closer the opposition so that it's not criticized. The idea is calling for constructive criticisms onto his team. So anyone who is in the cabinet should be ready and will,
it's interesting you say that. Is it over the weekend that I heard the Deputy President speaking against the ODM leader, Raila Odinga, asking him to stop criticizing them? He felt in his duty to criticize the Uhuru government.
No. I don't think that is the kind of criticism you're talking about, because, you see, there are individuals in this country who may not look at life realistically. His Excellency, the President, has inherited a government that does not have a serious past. He's inherited a government that has got to be, reformed. There are so many reforms that are required. There are huge debts to be paid. There is a cost of living which is very high, which needs to be brought down. There's unemployment. There's so many problems that he has inherited. So in this case, we should not just start criticizing even before we settle down to work. Give him time to build foundation.
I mean, sorry to reopen this, but look, you're saying the president has said he wants a strong opposition.
Yeah, opposition.
Senator Manzo said.
Constructive opposition, not
just hold on, Senator.
Not just criticism.
Honorable Mutunga.
Yeah.
So he has said that.
Yeah.
When those in the opposition speak, then you say you fail to criticize.
I want to quote the Deputy President's words. He said, give us time to start this process. Don't be in a hurry to see results even before we consolidate ourselves into action.
When should the opposition start its work?
The opposition should start its work, I believe, immediately, but also be realistic, not to demand too much before even people get up to do the work. We are saying that he's putting together a government that is going to address the issues that affect Kenyans under very difficult circumstances. And that is why we, at this point in time, we are saying, he said in the first 100 days, we'll have done a lot. The Hustler Fund will be in place, and he has clearly promised that it is going to be there. There are so many other things that he has already done which actually show that he is serious about what he's doing. Appointment of the judges, and so much of the release of, the entanglement that used to be there in the past. People are feeling better, they are feeling freer, they are feeling, hopeful. And I think that's what is needed in a situation where you want productivity and you want creation of, wealth and, growth of our government.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Honorable John Mutunga from Tigania West, Senator Dan Manzo from Makueni County, and Honorable Kuria Kimani from Molo constituency in Nakuru County. Achengo was elected the first time in Nakuru town and also became a minister. So I don't know where that sits. I know he was born somewhere in Siaya, but anyway, it is what it is. Thank you all for your time, and of course, thank you, the viewer, for taking part in this and sharing your feedback with us. Up next is Matters Social with Shutterboy. Stay tuned. Bye for now.